The chamber was silent, yet the silence felt heavy, like a storm hiding behind the clouds. Dozens of alien council members sat around a great circular table made of black stone. Their glowing eyes moved from one another, but none dared to speak first. They all knew what the discussion was about, and none of them wanted to admit the truth. At the center of the chamber, a hologram flickered alive. The image showed a blue and green planet, small and fragile compared to the mighty empires of the stars. Earth. The humans, one counselor finally said, his voice sharp. We must address them before it is too late. Murmurs filled the room. Some aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others clicked their jaws in annoyance. The humans were young compared to the ancient civilizations that ruled the galaxy. They had only just begun traveling into space. But there was something unusual about them, something that made even the oldest species uneasy. They are reckless, another counselor hissed. Always fighting among themselves. They invent weapons not to defend themselves, but to destroy. Imagine what they will do when they master faster ships, stronger armies. They will bring fire to the stars. But before anyone could respond, an elder's voice echoed through the chamber. It was deep, tired, but full of warning. I have seen this before. Long ago. A small race ignored, underestimated, until it rose and devoured all who laughed at it. Humans are no different. Their hunger is endless. Their will, unbreakable. The council turned their eyes toward the elder. He was ancient even by their standards, his skin wrinkled like dry bark, his eyes dim with age. For centuries, he had studied young races, watching how they grew, how they stumbled, and how they sometimes conquered even the mighty. They must be stopped, the elder whispered. Not tomorrow. Not when they reach the stars. Now. Silence again. The words fell heavy, echoing through the chamber. Some counselors leaned forward with interest. Others shook their heads. Finally, one of the younger members laughed softly, a bitter, mocking laugh. Stopped? You speak as though they are already our equals. They are still children. Look at them, fighting wars over dirt, wasting their resources, poisoning their own world. They will destroy themselves long before they touch us. The elders' dim eyes did not blink. And yet, they always survive. Every war, every disaster, every trial, they rise again. They are like fire. Try to smother it, and it grows hotter. Try to drown it, and it learns to burn beneath the water. The council chamber grew restless. Some were moved by the warning. Others grew irritated. Enough, said the High Chancellor, raising his many-fingered hand. His robe shimmered with light, a symbol of authority. The humans are far from dangerous. They are primitive. A curiosity, nothing more. We are the guardians of the galaxy, not hunters of insects. Shall we waste our fleets on children throwing stones at one another? Several counselors nodded, their voices rising in agreement. Yes. Leave them. They are nothing. But the elder rose slowly, his frail body trembling as he leaned on his staff. You laugh now. But the day will come when their ships darken your skies. When their soldiers land on your worlds. When you beg for mercy, and they will give you none. The High Chancellor waved his hand, dismissing the warning as though it were smoke. Your fear blinds you, old one. Let the humans play with their toys. Let them think themselves clever. They will never reach us. The debate ended. The decision was made. The council ignored the elder's warning. But outside that chamber, far from their shining worlds, on a small blue planet, something was already stirring. On Earth, humans looked up at the night sky with restless eyes. They built rockets that screamed into the heavens. They launched machines that drifted into the dark, whispering across the void. They dreamed of worlds beyond their own, and they would not stop until those dreams were real. In hidden laboratories, engines were being tested, louder, faster, stronger than before. Weapons never seen in the galaxy were being designed by human hands, hands that had learned war since the dawn of time. A soldier stood on a battlefield, mud on his face, smoke in the air. He did not know it yet, but his kind would one day march across alien soil. A scientist watched her experiments spark with light, the first step toward breaking the barriers of the stars. She did not know it yet, but her discovery would shake empires. And somewhere, in the vast silence of space, a human signal traveled farther than ever before. It was a simple message, a greeting, sent into the dark. But to those who listened, it was the first knock on the door. The council had laughed. They had turned their backs. But the humans were coming. And when they came, nothing would be the same. Far beyond Earth, in the endless dark of space, a lonely listening station drifted in silence. It was small, forgotten, and manned by only 2 alien operators. Their task was simple: watch for strange signals, keep records, and send reports to the council. 4 years, nothing unusual had happened. Most signals were only static, whispers of dying stars, or the weak echoes of distant galaxies. The operators had grown lazy. One of them often slept at his console, while the other played old recordings just to fight the boredom. But then, one night, a sound came that neither of them had heard before. "Do you hear that?" one of them asked, his 4 eyes widening. The console was alive with strange pulses. The sound repeated again and again, a steady rhythm. It was not random, not natural. It was deliberate. The second operator leaned forward, adjusting the dials with nervous claws. "It's a message," he whispered. "Encoded. From that little blue planet, Earth." The 2 stared at each other in silence. The message was not powerful, not dangerous. It was simple. A greeting. A call into the dark. But to them, it was proof. Proof that the humans were climbing faster than expected. The younger operator's voice trembled. "Should we send this to the council?" The older one hesitated. "They already dismissed the elder's warning. If we bother them again, they will say we are wasting their time." "But if we ignore it," the younger said, his throat tight. And the elder was right. For a long moment, the older operator said nothing. Then, with a sigh, he pressed the transmit key. "We will report it. Let the council laugh if they wish. But I will not stay silent." The signal was sent. Hours later, deep within the council chamber, the High Chancellor listened with mild amusement. The human message echoed through the room, a faint voice speaking across the stars. One of the counselors laughed. "They send greetings into the void. How adorable. As if they believe someone will answer." Another counselor smirked. "It is proof of their childish nature. They reach for the stars, but they do not understand what lives in them." The High Chancellor waved his hand. "Log it. Nothing more." But at the far end of the chamber, the elder listened in silence. His ancient face showed no amusement, no mockery. Only sorrow. "They are reaching," he said softly. "And when they grasp the stars, they will not let go." No one answered him. The council had already moved on to other matters. Meanwhile, on Earth, excitement filled the air. Scientists in crowded rooms cheered as their machines confirmed that their signal had left the solar system. They imagined other beings hearing it, smiling, and perhaps replying one day. None of them knew that their voice had already been heard, and mocked. But humans had never needed approval. Their strength came not from permission, but from persistence. In secret bases, rockets were tested with fire that shook the ground. In silent labs, engines hummed with strange new energy. The humans were learning fast. Too fast. On one battlefield, a soldier crouched in the ruins of a broken city. Drones buzzed above him, carrying supplies through smoke and flame. He wiped blood from his cheek, gripping his rifle tighter. His war was only against other humans, yet every step, every invention, every scar was preparing his kind for the day when their wars would no longer be against themselves. A scientist, tired but smiling, watched her prototype engine flare with impossible light. "One day," she whispered, "we will not just look at the stars. We will touch them." Far away, in the hidden corners of the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Not everyone in the stars believed the council's arrogance. Some listened to the elder. Some feared what they heard. A small empire of insect-like beings discussed the human signal with unease. If they rise, they may challenge us. A wandering race of traders smiled greedily. New mines, new weapons, new markets. We should watch them closely. A warlord of a dying empire clenched his fists. If they are to come, better to crush them before they grow. The humans had spoken into the dark, and the dark had listened. The council believed they had nothing to fear. But outside their chamber, others were already making plans. Some saw danger. Some saw opportunity. And some saw war. The elder sat in his lonely chamber, staring at the stars. He whispered to himself, almost like a prayer. They will come. And when they do, the galaxy will change forever. On Earth, children played beneath the same stars, pointing upward, dreaming of distant worlds. They did not know that their dreams had already begun to stir fear in the hearts of empires. The humans were still small, still fragile. But like fire, they were spreading. And fire, once it spreads, does not stop. The night sky above Earth was quiet, but in orbit, a new machine came alive. It was the largest satellite humans had ever built. A great shining dish, wide as a city block, circling the planet like a silent guardian. Its purpose was simple: to listen, to stretch human ears farther than ever before. Scientists gathered in control rooms, their eyes fixed on glowing screens. They had sent signals into the dark for decades, but nothing had ever answered. Still, they listened. Still, they hoped. And then, one evening, something answered. It was faint, almost like a whisper. A pattern of pulses, too exact to be natural. The technicians stared in silence, their hands frozen on their controls. "Is it a star?" one asked. "No," another said, his voice trembling. "It's a signal. It's—" He stopped, his face pale. "It's not human." The room exploded with noise. Phones rang, alarms buzzed, and messages shot across hidden networks. The news spread like wildfire. Earth had heard something. Something out there. Governments met in secret. Military leaders leaned over maps and charts. Scientists argued late into the night. Was it danger? Was it hope? No one could agree. But one truth could not be ignored: humanity was no longer alone. Far beyond Earth, the Alien Council received the news as well. A young messenger rushed into the chamber, holding a glowing tablet. "Counselors, we have a report. The humans have detected a foreign signal. They are aware of us." The chamber erupted. Some shouted in anger, some in fear. The High Chancellor raised his voice above the chaos. "Calm yourselves. It may only be a fragment. They do not know what it means. They cannot reach us." But the elder leaned forward, his frail hands shaking as he gripped his staff. "They have heard," he said. "And once they hear, they will chase the sound. They will not rest until they find its source." The Chancellor's eyes narrowed. "You give them too much credit, Old One. They crawl through their skies while we soar across galaxies. Let them chase shadows. They will never catch us." But deep in the chamber, a nervous voice spoke up. "What if they do?" The Chancellor ignored the question. The Council laughed again, dismissing the matter as if it were a child's story. On Earth, the hunt began. The signal was weak, but humanity poured every resource into it. Telescopes scanned the skies, supercomputers worked day and night, and teams of scientists studied every flicker of static. 4 weeks, they searched. And then, one sleepless night, they found something new. The signal repeated. Stronger. Clearer. A young scientist leaned closer to the screen, her heart pounding. She translated the code, line by line. And though she did not understand the words, she understood the meaning. It was a message. A warning. She whispered to herself. "They're out there." The first governments tried to hide the discovery, but secrets never stayed buried among humans. Soon, the news leaked. The world erupted with fear and excitement. Some people cheered. "We are not alone," they cried, waving banners and flags. Others trembled. "If they are out there, what if they come for us?" Religions split, leaders argued, soldiers prepared. But for the first time in history, humanity's eyes were united on the same horizon, the stars. Far away, not all aliens agreed with the Council's arrogance. The insect-like empire watched closely. Their leaders hissed in private halls. The humans advanced too quickly. "We must decide now. Destroy them or prepare for their arrival." The traders whispered in their floating markets. "Humans will buy, humans will sell. They are ambitious. We could profit." The warlord of the dying empire clenched his fists, his broken fleets waiting in silence. "They will become soldiers. If I cannot defeat my enemies, perhaps I can use these humans to do it." And the elder sat in his chamber, staring into the void. His voice was only a whisper, yet it felt like a prophecy. "They have taken their first step. The path cannot be undone." Back on Earth, rockets launched, breaking through the atmosphere with fire and thunder. They carried not just satellites, but dreams. Humans placed telescopes far beyond their planet, listening deeper into the void. In secret, others worked on engines not yet meant for the public eye. Machines that could bend rules, push limits, break barriers. A young engineer looked at his design and whispered, "If they are out there, then we must be ready." And in the skies above Earth, the great listening satellite turned its face to the stars once more, hungry for the next whisper, the next clue. The galaxy thought of humans as children. But children grow. Children learn. And children, when threatened, become dangerous. The signal had been heard. The chase had begun. And the galaxy had no idea what was coming. The rocket shook as it climbed into the sky, fire roaring beneath it. Crowds watched from the ground, their eyes filled with pride and hope. For the first time in history, humans were not sending a satellite, not a probe, not a telescope, but a ship. It was not fast. It was not strong. But it carried humans. A small crew, nervous but determined, pushing farther than their kind had ever gone. The mission was simple: travel beyond the solar system, test the new engine, and return with data. Nothing more. But history rarely obeys simple plans. For weeks, the ship sailed through the void. The crew marveled at the endless dark, at stars brighter than they had ever seen from Earth. They laughed, they argued, they dreamed. They were pioneers, carrying the weight of billions on their shoulders. Then, one night, the ship's alarm screamed. "Contact!" the pilot shouted, hands shaking on the controls. "Something is near us, moving." The crew rushed to the screens. At first, they thought it was debris, a rock drifting through space. But no, rocks did not change course. Rocks did not emit light. Rocks did not scan ships with beams of energy. The humans stared in silence. Their hearts pounded. It was not a rock. It was a vessel. Alien. Far away, in the council chamber, a messenger hurried in with trembling steps. "The humans, they have left their system. And they have been seen." The council erupted. Voices clashed like thunder. "Impossible," one counselor cried. "Their engines should not take them so far." Another snarled. "Who saw them? Which empire?" The messenger lowered his head. "The Keth, the insect empire. One of their patrol ships has already encountered a human vessel." The elder's eyes closed, heavy with sorrow. "It begins." The High Chancellor slammed his hand against the table. "Then we must control this. The humans cannot be allowed to spread uncontrolled. We will send observers. Quietly. Let us see how they respond." But others whispered of harsher actions. Some wanted war. Some wanted secrecy. Some wanted to use humans as pawns in their endless struggles. On the human ship, panic and awe filled the air. The alien vessel was sleek and dark, shaped like a predator. Strange markings glowed across its surface. The crew could only stare as the ship circled them like a shark. "What do we do?" the navigator whispered. "Do we run? Do we wave?" The captain swallowed hard, forcing her voice to stay calm. "We don't run. We don't fight. We record everything." The alien ship flashed lights, beams of unknown code. The humans tried to answer, sending back radio signals, light pulses, anything they could think of. None of it worked. The messages passed like wind against stone. Then, without warning, the alien ship extended a claw-like arm. It scraped across the hull of the human vessel, leaving deep scars of glowing metal. The crew screamed. "They're boarding us," one shouted. But they did not board. The alien arm retracted, and with a sudden burst of speed, the strange vessel vanished into the dark. The humans sat in silence, hearts pounding, breaths shaking. They had seen the impossible. They had met another species. And though no words had been spoken, a message was clear. You are noticed. When the human ship finally returned to Earth, the world changed overnight. The crew's recordings spread across secret channels, then across the internet, then across every news station in the world. Images of the alien vessel. Sounds of strange signals. Video of the metallic arm scraping across the hull. The proof was undeniable. Humanity was not alone. Panic spread. So did wonder. Some demanded armies, weapons, fleets. Others begged for peace, for understanding. The world divided, but no one could return to ignorance. And above it all, governments gathered in hidden rooms, their voices sharp and urgent. We must prepare. We must be ready for whatever comes. In the insect empire, the first report was delivered. "They are small," the commander hissed. "Weak." Their ship was primitive. Yet, they did not flee. They stood and faced us. Even when we cut their hull, they did not break. The insect leader clicked her jaws. Then the elder was right. They are fire. And fire must be smothered before it grows. Her armies began to move. The elder, far away, sat alone in his chamber. His tired eyes gazed into the void. He whispered words that only he would hear. They have been seen. They have been touched. The galaxy will never push them back now. The fire is lit. On Earth, children watched the footage of the alien ship again and again. Some cried. Some dreamed. All of them knew their world was forever changed. And in the sky above, the scarred vessel floated in orbit, its wounds glowing faintly in the sunlight, a reminder that first contact had not been with words, but with claws. The galaxy had taken its first step toward humanity. And humanity was already preparing to step back. The scar on the human ship's hull glowed faintly under the sunlight, a mark of the unknown. Engineers walked around it in silence, their hands tracing the strange alien metal left behind. Scientists studied every fragment, every scratch. Military officers stood nearby, their faces hard. "This was no accident," one general said. "They wanted us to know we are being watched." The scientists argued. "We don't know that. Maybe it was a test, maybe even a greeting." The general cut him off. "That wasn't a greeting. That was a warning." The debate raged across Earth. Politicians demanded answers. Soldiers demanded weapons. Scientists begged for time. But one truth cut through the noise: the universe was not empty. And the humans would never be the same. In secret bases, plans were drawn. Armies began building fleets of new ships, crude but stronger than before. Engineers worked day and night on engines that could travel farther, faster. Weapons once meant for wars between humans were redesigned for enemies no one had ever seen. In the skies above, satellites scanned endlessly, searching for any sign of returning ships. Humanity was no longer reaching into the dark blindly. Now, they were watching. The world's leaders met in hidden chambers. For the first time in history, old enemies sat side by side, united by fear. They whispered of a defense force, a united fleet. Not every nation agreed, but the seed was planted. Humanity was preparing. Far beyond Earth, the insect empire gathered its warlords. The humans are bold, one hissed. They did not beg, they did not surrender. They stared back. Another slammed his claws against the stone table. That proves they are dangerous. Fire must be crushed while it is still small. Their leader's mandibles clicked as she leaned forward. We will not wait for the council. The others may laugh, but we will act. We will send our fleets to shadow their world. If the humans resist, we will strike. The chamber echoed with clicking approval. Armies began to move. The council soon learned of the insects' plan. The chamber filled with outrage. They defy our decision, one counselor shouted. They risk exposure, another cried. The High Chancellor slammed his hand against the stone. We ordered patience. We ordered silence. Do they wish to start a war with children? The elder spoke, his voice calm but heavy. They fear the children because they see what the children will become. The Chancellor turned on him with cold eyes. You keep feeding their legend, old one. Perhaps you even wish for this chaos. The elder did not respond. He only looked toward the stars, whispering to himself. It is too late. The path is already chosen. On Earth, the first signs appeared. Astronomers reported strange shadows moving beyond the edge of the solar system. Distant lights that changed course. Signals that came and went, too precise to be natural. Some said they were only mistakes, illusions in the data. But the military did not believe in illusions. Fleets were placed on high alert. Fighters orbited above the planet, their pilots waiting for orders that might never come. The people felt the change too. Cities buzzed with rumors. Children pointed at the sky and asked if the aliens were watching. Soldiers walked the streets more often, their faces grim. Humanity lived under the silent knowledge that they were no longer alone. In one underground base, a group of scientists worked on something dangerous. The engine was unstable, unpredictable, but it was powerful. If it worked, it could carry humans farther than ever before, past the reach of their own sun. The lead engineer wiped sweat from his brow, staring at the glowing machine. If they come for us, we can't stay trapped here. We have to go to them. Beside him, a young soldier nodded, gripping his weapon tightly. Then let's make sure we're ready. Meanwhile, the insect fleet reached the edge of human space. Hundreds of ships, dark and silent, waiting in the shadows. The commander clicked his jaws. Watch them. Measure them. If they try to leave their nest, burn them. But the humans were not blind. Their satellites caught glimpses, their telescopes tracked shadows. And in a secret meeting room, a general whispered the words that no one wanted to hear. They are already here. The elder's voice drifted across the council chamber one last time, ignored as always. They have awakened the fire. And fire, once awakened, cannot be controlled. On Earth, a soldier stood watch at a base on the coast, his rifle slung across his chest. The night sky above him was clear, filled with stars. He did not know it, but beyond those stars, fleets watched him. Armies prepared for him. And far away, a child looked at the same stars, her eyes full of wonder, whispering to her mother, "One day, I'll go up there." Neither the soldier nor the child knew it yet, but their world stood at the edge of something greater than history. The first encounter had been a warning. The next would be war. The night sky above Earth looked calm, but in orbit, tension was thick as steel. Human satellites tracked shadows at the edge of the system. Strange signals flickered in and out, like whispers just beyond reach. In a secret command room, generals stared at the glowing screens. Small dots moved slowly, circling, watching. "They're not hiding anymore," one officer muttered. Another leaned forward, jaw tight. "They're testing us. Seeing how far they can push before we break." The order came down quietly, "Do not engage unless attacked." Humanity was not ready for open war. Not yet. But war has a way of finding those who try to avoid it. At the edge of the solar system, a lone human probe drifted. It was old, small, and harmless, carrying only cameras and sensors. For weeks, it sent back data faithfully, whispering its discoveries across the void. And then, one day, its signal went silent. In the command room, the technicians tried everything: resets, overrides, backup channels. Nothing worked. The probe was gone. Minutes later, the screens lit up with something new. A faint transmission, intercepted by accident. Not human. Not natural. A voice of clicks and hisses. The translation was rough, broken, but one word came through clear: test. The generals looked at each other in silence. Their worst fear was confirmed. The insect empire had struck. In their fleet's dark command ship, the insect warlord clicked her jaws in satisfaction. The humans are fragile. Their machines fall easily. Next, their ships will fall. But one of her captains shifted uneasily. They did not scream. They did not beg. They simply went silent. The warlord's eyes narrowed. They are still only children. The first battle began almost by accident. A human patrol ship, small, experimental, carrying only a handful of soldiers, was testing new engines near the asteroid belt. They were not looking for trouble. But trouble found them. The alien scouts appeared out of the dark like sharks, sleek ships glowing with strange energy. They circled the human vessel, just as they had circled the first. Inside, the human crew felt the same cold fear as before. But this time, they were not unarmed. "Do not fire unless fired upon," the captain ordered, her voice steady. The alien ships scanned them, beams of light cutting across the hull. Then, without warning, one of the alien vessels fired. A thin line of energy ripped across space, striking the human ship's shields. The alarms screamed. Sparks burst across the consoles. The crew shouted in panic. The captain's voice cut through the chaos. "Return fire." The humans fired their new weapons, missiles designed in secret, crude but deadly. One missile streaked through the dark and struck an alien ship. The explosion lit the void, a flower of fire where no fire should exist. The crew froze. They had done the impossible. They had destroyed an alien ship. The others circled, furious now. Beams of energy slashed again and again. The human vessel shook, its shields failing. But the humans did not break. They fired again, and another alien ship fell. The last scout hesitated. For the first time, the predator knew fear. And then it fled into the void. The humans were left in silence, battered, scarred, but alive. They had faced the galaxy's hunters, and they had won. When news of the battle reached Earth, the world erupted. Some cried out in fear, "We are at war." Others shouted with pride, "We fought them, and we survived." The governments tried to keep it quiet, but the truth could not be hidden. Images of the burning alien wreckage, captured by the patrol ship's cameras, spread like wildfire. Humanity had its proof. The universe was dangerous, but humans could fight back. Recruitment offices filled. Factories turned to building weapons and ships. For the first time in history, Earth prepared not for war against itself, but for war against the stars. In the insect empire, the warlord seethed with rage. "Children should not be able to wound us. This is an insult. This is a challenge." Her fleets prepared for full invasion. But across the galaxy, whispers spread. Other races heard of the humans who had stood against the insects and survived. Traders spoke with excitement. Warlords spoke with caution. And some began to wonder, if humans could fight the insects, what else could they do? In the council chamber, silence fell as the report was read. 2 alien ships destroyed. 1 fled. The humans lived. The counselors argued, shouted, panicked. The High Chancellor tried to calm them, but the elder only smiled a sad, knowing smile. "I warned you," he whispered. "You laughed at the fire. Now the fire burns. And it will not stop. On Earth, the captain of the patrol ship stood in the debriefing room, her uniform torn, her face bruised. She stared at the generals and leaders who asked her endless questions. Her answer was simple, quiet, and heavy with truth. They bleed. They can be beaten. And if they can be beaten, so can we. This war is not coming. It has already begun. The stars above Earth were no longer silent. At the edge of the solar system, alien fleets gathered like storm clouds. The insect empire had come in force this time, not scouts, not patrols, but warships. Hundreds of them. Their weapons glowed like suns, ready to burn the humans from existence. In the insect warlord's command ship, the order was simple. Crush them. Leave nothing behind but ashes. The insects expected an easy slaughter. They thought humanity had only one small victory, a lucky strike in the dark. They believed the humans were still children. But children grow fast when they are cornered. On Earth, the skies roared with fire. Fleets of new human ships launched from hidden bases, engines burning brighter than ever before. The weapons were crude, the shields fragile, but every vessel carried human hearts, human rage, human defiance. In the command center, generals stood over glowing maps of the solar system. They outnumber us 10 to 1, one whispered. The captain from the first battle stepped forward, her eyes steady. Then we make them pay 10 times for every one of us. Her words spread across the comms, reaching pilots and soldiers across the fleet. A simple truth, carried on human voices: we fight. The battle began at the edge of Jupiter. Alien warships surged forward like a tidal wave, their weapons tearing through the dark. Human ships met them head-on, missiles streaking, cannons firing. Explosions lit the void like new stars being born. The humans fought with fury. Their ships were slower, weaker, but they were clever. They hid behind asteroids, used planets' gravity to slingshot attacks, turned every rock and shadow into a weapon. And they never stopped. For every human ship destroyed, 2 more threw themselves into the fight. For every soldier lost, another swore revenge. The insects began to realize the truth. The humans did not know how to surrender. The warlord hissed in fury as reports poured in. Dozens of her ships were gone, wreckage scattered across the human system. These are not children, one of her captains whispered in fear. They are something else. But the warlord refused to retreat. Burn their world, she ordered. If we cannot beat their ships, we will strike their nest. The alien fleets turned, surging toward Earth itself. In the skies above their home, humanity prepared for the final stand. Every weapon was raised, every defense activated. Cities went dark to hide from targeting systems. Families huddled in shelters, listening to the rumble of rockets above. But humanity was not only defending. They had been building something in secret, hidden even from most of their own people. Deep in orbit, a massive station powered up for the first time. It was not beautiful, it was rough, unfinished, covered in scars of rushed work. But its heart was something new, something the insects had never seen. A weapon born of human desperation. The order came: fire. The station unleashed its power. A beam of energy, unstable and violent, cut through space like a lightning bolt. It struck the lead insect warship, and in an instant, the great vessel shattered into burning pieces. The humans had built their first superweapon. The alien fleets recoiled in shock. They had expected weakness. They had found something else. Across the galaxy, whispers spread like wildfire. Traders gasped, warlords paused, empires listened. The story was clear: the humans had faced the insects, and they had not only survived, they had won. In the council chamber, silence reigned as the report was read. The High Chancellor sat frozen, his mouth dry. They destroyed a fleet, a counselor whispered. With primitive ships? Another asked. With fire, the elder said softly. His dim eyes gleamed with something between sorrow and pride. The fire I warned you of. You cannot smother it now. The humans will burn across the stars. In the insect warlord's broken flagship, alarms screamed. Her fleets were in chaos, retreating in panic. She stared at the burning human world on her screens and realized the truth too late. They are not children, she whispered. They are the storm. Her ship vanished in the explosion of another human strike. On Earth, people cheered and wept as the news spread. The aliens had been defeated. Humanity had survived its first war in the stars. The captain of the human fleet stood before her crew, her voice steady but heavy. This is only the beginning. The galaxy knows we exist now. They will come again. And when they do, she looked out the window at the endless dark. We'll be ready. Children pointed at the night sky with wonder, whispering dreams of new worlds. Soldiers polished their weapons, waiting for the next call. Scientists studied the wreckage of alien ships, already imagining what new things they could build. The fire of humanity had been lit. And in the quiet corners of the galaxy, every empire, every council, every warlord whispered the same truth with fear in their voices. The humans are coming.